On my way over to the Meadows right now. I got Hangar 1 trained this morning, got Highest Honors trained this morning. They both trained very good. We jogged the fillies. Dr. Latessa is going to have a look at a few horses in the barn this week. Nothing major that I can see anyway. No concerns as I head over here. More maintenance stuff than anything. You know, I wanted to get all your videos done to you because tomorrow won't be possible, right? I'm flying to Cooperstown tomorrow, and I want to focus on all of it. You know, it's been a weird week for me. If you've been with us for an extended period of time, a year or two, then you know from time to time I'll bring up, you know, how the McDonald family, my uncles, my father, you know, the extended portion of the older extended portion of our family is getting older. And I've been blessed and probably lucky for most of my life where we never lost a lot of people, you know, I remember when I was a kid, I lost an aunt, but I was just a kid, maybe 12, 13 years old, maybe 14, and I didn't know her that well. She lived in the west coast of Canada, and as I said, I've been pretty blessed in the sense that, sure, I've lost people, but we haven't lost any close family members, and that came to an end this week. Everybody called him Rabbit. My uncle Rabbit died, and it was tough. It was an extremely tough thing to go through, and we're still going through it. And it's jammed into an exciting part of the year, so I'm left being torn. Right? I'm trying to, remember the man that he was, and at the same time be excited for my son who's about to go to Cooperstown. He'll play ball in Cooperstown for the week. I told Amy last year when we found out about Cooperstown it was only going to be Ollie. I told you guys that months and months ago, and then Degas and Jailbird Jog get in the final on Monday, and I had an honest-to-goodness conversation with a couple of clients and said, listen, it's a lose. This is one of those lose, and actually now lose situations for me. If Jailbird Jog is at win, so the way I assume and expect and hope that she will, it's going to be no cakewalk, but she is the best filly in Kentucky. I truly believe that. I know Vern's filly's nice. I know the filly that won the Next Generation's nice. I just don't think they're better than Jailbird Jog. So if she was out and wins, it's because she's the best filly, not because I drove her very good or I drove her capably. If she loses, it's my fault. And I'm flying from Albany to Kentucky for the day. I'm missing 2 baseball games with my son. He plays New York and Hawaii on Monday. I'm going to miss those, which I didn't want to do, but there is a certain expectation, right? There is. Everybody in the world gets a vacation. Everybody in the world gets time off. But when you put something important in a small portion of that time off, especially when it's your company, you have a choice to make. I'm only going to be gone the one day. I'm going to be back and watch them play baseball Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, hopefully Friday. But I will miss on Monday. But I'll be watching. You know, the one thing I've noticed in this game, and it rings true in most of life, is there's never one right answer. There's never one wrong answer. I've thought long and hard about it, and I said, you know what? My son's going to be engulfed in playing baseball. He knows how proud I am of him. I'm going to be there Sunday for his first game, and I'm going to be back on Tuesday. And I think if I was watching Jailbird Jog on my phone in the stands, and God forbid something happened, break or something, and she didn't race well, and then I was forced to throw my phone over the entire field into the outfield and then be arrested for doing that, I think it's much smarter if I just go and do it myself. That way, if something goes wrong, it's on me. I got big shoulders. If she makes a break or something goes wrong, it's on me. But the whole point of Jailbird Jog being in Kentucky, being in Oak Grove, was to prepare her for Lexington and what comes after Lexington. And that is the job. So if she's a closing third, not the end of the world. We have much bigger fish to fry later on with filly, and I just want to make sure that we get a chance to fry them. And that's why I'm going to Oak Grove on Monday. I've done a lot of talking with Jailbird Jog and not enough of Degas. Degas raced tremendous in her elimination last week. Third, 56-4. Now, Jailbird Jog has never been sick the last little while, never been sore. And when we got her squared away and trotting, she was just raw speed, and she just got better and stronger. And along the way, as she was getting better and stronger, Degas got a little sick, missed some time. So she's missing 2 or 3 fast miles. Now, she got 1 or 2 into her, so she's coming. But if I'm going to be completely fair, she doesn't, not the same engine under the hood. Degas is a very, very nice filly and will be fun to drive the entire time that we have her, from now until we don't. But she's not Jailbird Jog. And, you know, she's one of those fillies where she's going to be able to put herself now with the 7-hole. I was going to say she's going to be able to put herself in position. 7-hole, he's going to have to race her from off the pace. There's just no two ways about it. There's a lot of speed in the middle of the gate. I just want to set the filly away, unhinged, unharmed, unwound. And if Scotty controls the race with Vern's horse, or Dexter does, or Dave Miller does, so be it. I have every belief that Jailbird Jog can follow cover, track cover, and pounce on them. Remember, she was off 2 weeks last week. Didn't train her hard. I didn't want to train hard. So, coming in sharp, coming in sound. Dr. Andy looked at her the other day, said she was good. No maintenance or vet work needed. Eric said she's had a great week. She trained good. She felt good. Coming into the race, seemingly perfect. So we'll see how it all plays out. But there was a balance to be made, and with everything going the way it's supposed to with Jailbird Jog, I just didn't want to tempt fate and have it derailed. So I'll go drive her on Monday. Now, other big news, man. You guys were waiting for my Jazz's baby, weren't you? Well, Lou Armstrong, I didn't realize how quick he sold out. It was like in a blink of an eye. You know, I knew that Globetrotting's colt would be well received. I was a little surprised that Iglaire M's filly foal, the filly would slowly sell, I guess. But in comparison to Globetrotting, and most definitely in comparison to Lou Armstrong, a little bit slower, but then again took off and was gone. My Jazz colt was sold out seeming in minutes, I suppose. Who do we move on to next? I guess Path of Totality's baby, Cloud Rider. That's his name, right? Cloud Rider. Yes. The tactical landing. I noticed in the pictures are all great. Cloud Rider looks a little thin. You can see his ribs a little bit. And Haley said he was just sick for a couple of, maybe 4 or 5 days right before the photographer showed up, and there wasn't much we could do. She said he's put all that weight back on and looks great, which I assumed he did. But he'll be on the block next. So this is a tactical landing out of the Donato Hanover mare, her mare that I loved to death, and that was Path of Totality. She was so fast, had bad knees, and just a really, really nice mare. And I think another horse that you're going to be very interested in as we head into. Now, obviously, when you look at, somebody to ask me about the price points, it was really just John and I talked about it and put a price on the horses, to be honest. Obviously the sale average for the particular sire played a big role, and when you look at tactical landing, the stud fees obviously played a role. The year that Green Shoe was $30,000, we ended up getting those for $17,000, which is still a lot of money, especially considering what he is now and what he was expected to be. Let's just say that. There have been some very good Green Shoes. Go Dog Go is amazing. Jim Campbell's horse was great. There's been 4 or 5 that are really, really good horses, and a lot that are kind of ho-hum, but isn't that the same with every sire? And when it comes to the first foal from Path of Totality, I think the expectations, the hopes, and the interest is most definitely at a heightened level, let's say. So we'll put, I believe, I didn't know the sex of the horse. I don't want to make the mistake. I think it's a colt, but I'm not positive. That particular baby will be on sale up on the block. Today's only Saturday. I expected this to take a little bit longer. Let's say I'm going to reach out to our clients throughout the weekend Today is Saturday. Let them know some of the shares will be up for sale, and whatever ones are available, and then we will open up the rest of those shares to you. Let's say Monday morning. I like the way this is moving along quickly. Actually, I appreciate that. I thought it would be almost a week or two process for some of the horses, and I'm sure some of them would take a little bit longer, but these particular four, for sure, are ones that we started with our supposed four best, to put it that way. So I think that'll be a thing. I'll reach out to everybody today in regards to Cloud Rider and let them know that the shares will be for sale. Now, I know that we have owners of Cloud Rider and of Path of Totality in Europe, in both coasts of Canada, all over the U.S. So I don't know how many shares will be available on Monday, but whatever ones are available, I'll let you know, and they will become public. Let's call it 8 a.m. on Monday again, all right? That seems fair. Now, every week I like to talk about the horses that have impressed me that are coming forward, and I will. But I am going to talk about some of the horses because from time to time I'll get a message from somebody saying, I got a message yesterday, and I hate reading too much into emails, right? But it seemed to me like somebody was disappointed that Captain Incredible was not, a 48 pacer yet. Well, I guess, first off, as I said in the email, when we're training down Captain Incredible and we hear Ron Burke talk highly of him, right? Scott McEnany was talking highly of him. James talked highly of him. Harry talked highly. Everybody loved the horse because he had talent. But there was no way to discern a 148 pacer from a 151 pacer when they're training down. There just is not. That's part of it. Now, even I am sounding negative in it. But I think it's also important to note the horse had 11 lifetime starts. He's a big, strong colt that is getting sounder every time we go with him. His last two starts, although I was a little disappointed yesterday, he didn't, clean it up. I thought when I hit the 3/4, 123 and 4, I'm thinking 51 flat. 50 and 3. At the half, I'm thinking 50, 49. But I got up to 3/4 with a pretty good breather. I thought he was home and cooled out. Now, we did scope him after. There was no blood found, but we only waited maybe 25 minutes. A little longer scope, maybe 45 minutes. Maybe we do see a trickle down there. But there was no alarming results from the scope. I felt, as I said yesterday, and I talked about it in depth, that Captain Incredible still has to buy in to the talent that he is. And I compared him a little bit to my son, Oliver, right? Super talented baseball player, great kid. Good work ethic. But at some point, and it isn't as an 11 or 12-year-old, but at some point down the road, 14, 15, and for a colt right now, very soon, he's going to have to allow his confidence to bloom, and he's going to have to realize that talent, raw talent, got you here, but you have to buy into 105% when you're on the track. And I don't want anybody to think that Captain Incredible's attitude is wrong. He's bang on. He is a good horse and a good worker. And I think, as I said last night, I alluded to it, I think when we get him to Kentucky, I think we'll break him free. I think he'll really start to stretch out, follow some speed, and understand how quick he is, what it takes to be that top type horse, and become one. That's my hope. And I think the other message for Captain Incredible is he only got 11 lifetime starts. He's a 3-year-old. We're going to have him for a while. And although I just don't think he's quite the right fit just yet for the Adios, there's still lots of racing left this year. And I think about a horse like Arrowhead Hanover, who doesn't have the God-given talent that Captain Incredible has, but he uses every ounce of what he has. And sometimes we see him go an unbelievably huge mile like he did 2 weeks ago, and they're like, all right, now, when he's going to get away in the 3-hole behind these good horses, he's going to pounce on them, he's going to have a good trip. On the left line yesterday, he ended up 5th. The difference between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is the ability to go fast, the understanding how to do it, and the desire to do it. But you got to be able to do it first and foremost. and the difference between the winner's circle, a check, and a frowny face is very small sometimes. I'm not disappointed in Captain Incredible. I'm not disappointed in Arrowhead Hanover. We're going to forego the adios. We're going to skip that with Captain Incredible. I had a great talk with Dave this morning. I know Dave had the hotel booked already for next Saturday. I know that he was planning on coming over next week. And I know he wants to see him race. So everybody wants to see their horse race. Nobody wants to see their horse get beat up. And that's where I have to come in, right? Do I think it makes the most sense? Last week it was a stretch. This week, I just don't think it's a good fit. And I believe, as I said, he'll break free once we get him to Kentucky. Now with Arrowhead, I look at the list of Pennsylvania bred trotters. Go Dog Go is on there. The horse that raced yesterday that won first over for Tim Tetrick, who's clearly a killer, is going to be on there. There's 5, 6, 7, maybe the entire field of truly tough competitors. And at least 2 or 3 or 4 of them are Grand Circuit type horses. So it didn't take long for our statistician, Craig, to say, what about we just go in the next Stallion Series? See if we can hook 10 grand, drop out of the Sire Stake final, and aim for the consolation. No arguments here. I'd love to race him in the Sire Stakes consolation. I'd love to race him in the Beal consolation. And I think we're going to have a very, very nice horse after that. Melisandre, Grand Slam deal. Those are 2 horses that never did reach their potential that we in for them. Not even close. Okay horses. Grand Slam deal's got a mark at 55. And Melisandre trotted 55 the other day in the mud. Second at 54 and 3. They'll both take good marks and they'll both go to Harrisburg. Both are very, very well bred. We paid a lot of money for both of them. And I think, I don't want to say a large portion, I believe a large portion of that will come back in the sale of those 2 horses as potential broodmares. But, again, didn't reach her full potential. Aunt Lily, we expected her to come back and be a killer, although she finished up her 2-year-old season with what looked like a strong Buckeye campaign. She put a lot of money away, come back okay, and was third. Probably should have won the other night, but as Kane said, race good, and felt like she might be able to get them next time. That's right. Freedom Hill, again, Foxy Seaside. These horses were good at 2. Haven't really reached their potential. And, Foxy looked like she'd take a big, big mark in Scioto this summer and hasn't had an opportunity to do that. Shut her air off last week. We stuffed her in the condition claimer. That gorgeous package was in that won very, very easily 2 starts back. These are horses that, here's our hopes and dreams, here is reality, right? Here's worst case scenario. And those horses came back as good as they went out, right? Aunt Lily, 54 and 3, has a mark of 54 and a piece, going to be worth money as a broodmare. Yes, nice filly. Foxy Seaside, she's going to get there again. She's not. She's a fringe player in the Buckeye. She's not a Sire Stake horse, but she's going to be a good overnight filly. Now, she's going to have a test, though. Ronnie Wrench driving her from post 8 tonight. That is the great equalizer on any half-mile track. And gorgeous package, a winner, 2 back, paced 51 the other day. A little handier than Foxy. Similar talent level. A little handier. But again, very good player on the overnight circuit. Fringe player on the Buckeye circuit. Now, there's some of the horses that come back okay. They didn't wow anybody. Never reached the potential that we set on them. But for the most part, that's on us as much as it's on anything else. You have to understand, every trainer, every owner, every caretaker thinks that their horses are better than they are for the most part, or has the same dreams for them. All of us. That's what keeps us going. We all go to bed in the winter, in the spring, even into the start of the summer, dreaming of winning all the races, winning everything. We can't all do that, can we? And we have our own talented horses. There's no doubt about that. We're racing 2 of them tonight in Uncle Danny and Supermind. Very, very good horses. Uncle Danny made a break last week. We found a few little things with him, and then racing on the track, I can see why they're going fast, because it's not the same track. They don't maintain it the same way. It's hard as a rock the other day. Historically speaking, flip-flops were a strict no-go for Scioto. Not the case anymore. Not from what I can see anyway. So we hit the flip-flops back on Uncle Danny tonight. Did a little vet work on him. I think you're going to see a good Uncle Danny. Now, I'm saying this before he races. Supermind has been great. Incredible in his first start. 6-5 morning line today in the Sire Stakes. We'll see how he does. Tomboy Strong, 5th. A bit of a ho-hum 5th in the 6th. 5th? 6th? 6th, the Next Generation. But raced okay. And then Emerald Tom, not a great fit on paper tonight, especially when he caught the horse that won the Next Generation, but I just didn't want to take him to Bucyrus, his first start, so I thought we'd grab some points in the Sire Stake level, Sire Stake division, and then we'll see what happens after that. No, and don't forget, I'll go jurisdiction by jurisdiction, I guess. We get Jailbird Jog, Degas, Zena Kemp in Kentucky. I told you, Hanger 1 trained good today. His brother is a Hambletonian contender. No two ways about that. He trained very good this morning. He's on his way. Solidarity is on his way to Kentucky. Those horses look great. Perfect Thought. Yes, we scratched her last night just out of an abundance of caution. She's fine. She'll train up tight, and she'll be ready to go for next Friday at the Meadowlands. Then we have Cherry's Girl and Don't Ask Again. 2 horses, the dark horses kind of this season, right? Cherry's Girl most definitely was. And Don't Ask Again went a heck of a mile the other day to be second. So, I mean, you're looking at a number of good horses. I would say, just looking quickly, 30%, maybe 35 of our babies we broke are Sire Stake material type horses. And then you have 2 horses coming back I thought highly of. Go Strong Hanover kind of let me down the closer we got to the races. And I don't expect a ton from him today, but I do expect a decent mile. And then Blue Rare had that entrapment in her first race. Now she's got it all cleaned up. Her throat looks great. She was training this morning. Danny was going with her at Mohawk. He literally called me right before he went with her in preparation of next week. I thought the grassroots was possible. But again, not completely necessary. So we'll go with a good training mile this week, a training mile in the middle of the week, and a race and an overnight next week, and that will head in. That will drive 7 days right before the second grassroots, which is exactly what we want to see. Staying in Ontario quickly, Lifting Legend raced pretty good the other day in the Prospect Series. Simply Chaotic. I'm going to go drive Simply Chaotic, I think, a week from Tuesday. Tuesdays I just qualify over here. Hopefully Solidarity qualifies this Tuesday, so I won't have to come over here and go with him, but I would like to potentially qualify Hanger 1. So I'm going to qualify here in the morning and then head to Ontario to drive Simply Chaotic. I want to look under the hood. It's been a while. We proposed some shoeing changes. I talked to Dominic, talked to Jody the other day. We're going to make some shoeing changes on Simply Chaotic, and then I'm going to race him his next start. Chicago Hall has been racing pretty good. A couple of clunkers here and there, but for the most part, some good racing. In Gaslight Hall, somebody messaged me. They've heard me talking about moving him over there. So why wait? Why not just take him now? Well, he does need the grassroots points. If he's flat, he's flat. We've taken his blood, mild tie-up, albumin, a few things a little bit high, but nothing that Dominic can't combat. Dominic's concern is that he's not liking the Lasix, and we have had that happen. Rock Shining Star, we put him on Lasix because he showed a couple of little drops of blood the one day. He was not good on Lasix. We took him off. Is that a problem? It's possible. It's not something I would sink my teeth into and say, oh, that's got to be it. But if you erase all other factors that it could be, then you're left with what it must be, right? And if that's the case, that's the case. Another reason to bring him over here. I can race him off Lasix in Pennsylvania. So we can do that also. That's a possibility. And if he races good off Lasix, we can pivot also. Take him to Kentucky. Although I don't really love that idea, quite frankly. I'd like to get him on his toes. I would, you know what I'd love to see him do? Race OK next Thursday at Mohawk. Come over here and pound the non-winners to 3 for 2 starts. Sharpen him up, put him back on his toes, shake the rust off him, and bring him back to Ontario. That's what I would like to do. Much like we did with that horse 2 years ago. I was literally just thinking of his name. You probably know who I'm talking about. Nothing But a Dreamer. Ha! It's on the tip of my tongue. Nothing But a Dreamer. Very, very similar situation. And then Resolve Indeed. We just need to stay in our zone, stay in our lane, as we say sometimes. Barely a grassroots horse, probably a decent prospect horse, and a really decent overnight filly. Could she be better? Yes. Could she be worse? Yes. But she's been pretty good, except for the break the other day, which I think was just a little tantrum on her part. That's Ontario. We moved to Ohio. We had a good night the other night. You know, Judy's money changed my entire outlook of the night. You know, I said jokingly, Amy was going to have to hide the silverware if Judy didn't win. It didn't feel it was a particularly good night. But then, as I said, it doesn't take long to change perspective. You know, when you look at the horses, Steph's Hope was ready to go in 2 minutes. That's where she's trotted. You can't ask her to do more than she's actually ready to do. And in fairness, I think I was ambushed a little bit. I didn't think any of them would go in 56 or 57. I thought 58 apiece, 59. Historically, again, we use this term a lot, but you have to understand, historically speaking, sounds awesome. Means nothing in the here and now. Just a guideline that what might be from what was. And it is not completely accurate right now at all. 56, 57 for grassroots Buckeye horses, trotters, fillies. I didn't see that coming. Jolene Hall was great, finished 3rd, but raced awesome. It's going to be a nice filly. Aunt Sarah, we just got to have Dr. Latessa's got to go over here, got to go over her, and you know, take a look at. I think what she has is a couple issues bothering her, and now what's come up is a couple of secondary issues. Nothing major, but the flashpoint would be important to find. It's definitely left hind, right? And I think it's accentuated because her knees and feet bother her a little bit. As I say all this out loud, you can tell, you know, if we don't nip this in the bud, this is something where we just turn her out. But Dr. Tess is a super sharp vet, and I'm sure he will get to the bottom of it. Then we had Bobby. I told everybody, Bobby impressed me. I know the break, I don't care about the break. She impressed me with her understanding of her job. Something that she's never really shown me before. And she did the other day. I was happy with Bobby. Judy's money was absolutely shocking to me. Shaved 7 seconds off her charted lines. I know I trained her in 2-1 or 2-2, and I don't think she was awesome that day. But she was nothing short of awesome the other day. Raced with 2 different kinds of shoes on up front, because she lost one. Lost the toe weight. Hit herself left hind. You can see where that happened. Just goes out and trots away in 57. I did not see that coming. Somebody messaged me and said, well, I did. I knew she was a quality filly. Okay, cool. Because, I mean, we only trained her every day, so. She was not a better horse than Jolene Hall. She was not a better horse than, Bobby training down, but that changed at some point. Megan, Tomboy Strong. These horses that haven't trotted there yet. She certainly looked some kind of good the other night. And the one thing about her was I thought she did have a ceiling, right? There were times you might have saw her look flashy, but when she was stretched for an extended period of time, there just didn't seem to be a lot of depth there. Handy filly, probably going to be a nice filly to drive if you put her in the right spot, but I certainly didn't see a filly bubbling under the surface. That would be 3 wide to the 3/8, clear to the lead, fight off the favorite, and drive away in 57, all the while wearing 2 different shoes up front and interfering left hind. No, I didn't see that. Didn't see that coming. That's why I said to Brett pulling up, I said, This is why we love this game. He said that filly came from the scratch and dent sale at the start of the summer. Give very little for her. I can't remember, but it wasn't a lot. Low teens. Trained down okay, but man, did she ever race good tonight. Nice filly. And then, of course, Supermine. Highest honors, trained great today. I trained him in 59 3, 27 4 on the end of it. No problem at all. We're going to have a lot of fun with this colt. He's in the Buckeye this week, coming a week from Saturday, I believe. They'll train him probably a mile and a half in the middle of the week, and he'll be ready to go. Diosa de la Danza is in the Buckeye Sunday or Monday. Tyler's going to drive her, which is a good fit. Tyler knows her. Tyler likes her. And she gets along well with Tyler. So I'm eager to see how that plays out. And then He's a Fearless Peter will be our only starter in Bucyrus. Had to know we're going to kick him out the field. He just needs to grow up. He just needs to fill out and grow up. He's just a big gangly colt. But this time of year, you have to put it all together because you have to race against horses that are or have put it all together. So unless you're just that much more talented than them, you have to reassess what your plans are long-term and short-term. I like the attitude and work ethic from that colt, so I'm more apt to give him time to fill out and grow up. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, we do have some additional horses that are off right now. ACDC is going to be out for another 4 weeks probably. Capistrano Nights, we're going to bring her in this week. Start jogging her. We're going to bring Royal Duchess in. And if I don't see improvement in their maturity, physical maturity, growth, and soundness, I'm just going to kick them both out for another month. Remember, they got to be ready to rock when they come to the track, especially now. And as I told you, that historically speaking term, out the window. Because it's not giving us a very good read. It's not a very good barometer for 2025, because what took place pre-2025 does not seem to be an indicator of what is going on in 2025. So you have to have them ready to rock. We'll bring them both in, see how they are. I'm going to kick Love Sensation out. I think this is going to be a nice filly for us. Just again, we have 3 fillies that are really good right now in Kentucky, and this is a big gangly filly. She too hit herself. I'm not too worried about that. That will dissipate. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense to be racing her right now. So Eric is going to, when he moves up to Lexington, we'll kick her out in a farm somewhere. She'll either go to Haley's or she'll go to one of the turnout farms up there, down there, whatever. Royal Flushdale's out right now at James Day's place. He'll stay there for another 5 weeks. They'll let him grow up and fill out also. Sterling Hanover's back jogging now, but very lightly. I think he's actually on the walker. I shouldn't misspeak. And he'll not have a harness on him until he scopes perfect, which likely will be in the next 2 weeks. Steady Volo made a break yesterday. James couldn't go with him. Jody went with him. He made a break. I said, that's enough. Just send him over here. I'll stretch him out at the Meadows when I come back. There's another horse. Likely see him qualify a week from Tuesday. We'll train him at Northfield Park and then go with him a week from Tuesday. That will be the plan for Steady Volo. And then switching to the Maritimes. We have tons of aged horses that are racing well right now also. Save America, Rock Shining Star got beat up a little bit last week. Hopefully he'll bounce back. But you see the frustrating part, right, with racing aged horses. Rock Shining Star does not deserve to race against Clever Cody and those horses. They just stuffed him up a class where he doesn't belong. So, now they're putting us in a spot where you race him on the B tracks, because I'm not racing him in there again. I'm going to tell Harry, no, if he fits the non-winners of 6, then he goes to the non-winners of 6. They put him in the non-winners of 10, scratch him, put him on a truck, and send him back to the States. I just don't like the idea that they're okay. They just take horses to fill classes. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a class he had to win. I have no idea. I shouldn't say that. My understanding was he fit the class below that, but maybe, in fairness, I'm wrong. I just didn't really want to see Clever Cody and Rock Shining Star in together. And there's other ones. That's just not the other one. There's lots of them in there. He's 10-1 morning line. Save America's in tomorrow, in Sunday, in the Governor's Plate elimination, pick to win with Kenny Murphy. So good luck to him. He's undefeated in 2025 in the Maritimes. And then, of course, Smitty also has Woodmere Betcha in Woodmere Bullet. Yo Mister will be racing this week, I believe. Spitfire Overseas. They were going to put him in the open. Jason called and said, he fits the non-winners of 5,000. It's not going to fill. They want to give him the inside in the open. I said, no, absolutely not. We'll race him in the non-winners of 5,000 at the Meadows next week, or a Scioto. I'm not racing him up a class just because. It's just not fair to the horse. Right? There's a reason those classes are set up that way. If you have not made $5,000 in your last 4 or 5 starts, whatever the condition is, I shouldn't have to race in the open. We raced him in the open when he fit the numbers of 10,000 and it didn't fill. I said, okay, fine. And then he won the open, and then they gave him the outside for the next 2 weeks. The first start of the year in the open, any open at any track, was Northfield, I think. I don't know, Ontario. I don't think so. Maybe it was. But Northfield, on the south side anyway of the border. I didn't race in Southern Ohio in the open. Didn't race in the open at the Meadows. Raced one time in the open at Northfield. Got up and won the race because they went a big half. And is relegated to the outside 2 weeks in a row. I'm not a big fan of that. So, Spitfire will race also. I know a lot of people have heard me talking about buying some horses. I do have, I thought we'd be able to get one deal done much quicker than we have. And with everything going on over the last week, I maybe haven't put my true attention and gazed upon it properly, but I'm trying to see it from every angle. There is about 5, maybe 6 horses that are for sale. Now, I haven't got confirmation of a package of 4 of them. And I know people hear package like, oh, I just want the one I want. Well, therein lies the problem, right? So one way or another, we'll try and get it all done for you. Today is Friday. I would like to have something done by Saturday. Inside of that larger package is an open pacing mare and an open pacing colt, Kelvin, an open 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 5-year-old, I think. And a number of horses that will do us some good. But I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. Leave it with me, please. So I'm going to leave my opening video. I didn't get to do it with Amy this week because she is in Cooperstown right now, or almost in Cooperstown right now. I am almost, no, not almost at the Meadows. I'm half an hour from the Meadows. Tomorrow we'll both be in Cooperstown, and at that point I'd like all these videos to be done. So I finished this video. I'm looking forward to Cooperstown 2025 with my boy. I'm looking forward to Jailbird Jog's race on Monday. I'm looking forward to getting all these horses going, pointed in the right direction for you for the rest of the summer. It has been a great start to the summer, and we'll continue to push forward in all states and provinces throughout the summer and into the latter part of the summer, which we all know what happens then. A different kind of crazy. So take care. I will talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful Saturday, your weekend, and definitely good luck at the track.